So Dundee and I left the round pen and headed out into the pasture. I was just curious if he would respond as well to me out in the pasture where all of his buddies could come up or not. And luckily he did. He actually did quite well. So here I'm still just working on leading. And he's actually doing quite well. And luckily, he just stops when I stop. He has not so far offered to keep walking past me or to walk into me. He just stops when I stop. Here, I'm actually trying to get him comfortable with seeing me on his right. He really doesn't like seeing me on his right side. And he's got to learn how to deal with that. So he's getting the click and the treat when he's not trying to put me on his left. Lots of flies out. Flies are really bothering him. And this little chunk of video is a little bit long. You can skip ahead if you want. But I wanted to keep it for my own personal use. And as you could see right there, he actually is still quite uncomfortable with me on his right, and he tried to put me on his left. We corrected that. And he's got to get used to being petted everywhere. He's not a bad looking little horse. Oh, and here he is being a stallion, showing that he is indeed a stallion. Not for long, he will be gelded. I think he'll make a fabulous pony after he's gelded. It's a pretty hot day and the breeze feels pretty nice. I know some horses get really spooky in the wind. He's actually been pretty calm through everything. And I prefer working with stallions that don't drop, but he doesn't know that that's an unwanted behavior at this point. They can learn. Been around plenty of stallions that have learned to not drop around mares even. I haven't taught that, but I think that with the clicker training that he could be taught not to have that behavior. Although he will be gelded, so it won't matter. And again, I'm still just trying to get him used to seeing me on his right. And you can see there he really doesn't like it. He keeps trying to put me back to his left. And he tries to put me on his left a few different ways there. He'll put his head over. And I just block his movement and move with him. Or he'll back up and I just move with him. He gets the click and the treat when he does well. There I let him scratch. It was really the fly that was bothering him, and then he tried to take advantage and put me on his left again. Most of the time I'm having to actually put my hand on his face to keep him from putting me on his left, which is why he's not getting the click and treat. Although, in hindsight, maybe that little bit, just me being there, even with my hand on his face, is enough to click and treat. So we'll see how well this little session sunk in the next time I work with him. And I might have to take it back to some tinier steps. And here, as you could see, he wanted to put his head right on me and be a little bit searchy for the food. So he has been working really hard on moving his head away from me. I call that a settle, or settle. Horses hear all kinds of words from people: easy, whoa, stay. So I decided to use a word that he probably hasn't heard much, which is settle. And here I'm trying to get him used to being touched on the withers and the back. And he's not real comfortable with it. You can see him looking at me like, what? And there he looked away. He got the click and treat. And he still doesn't quite know what that's all about, so he was backing up to try and figure it out. He does really feel more comfortable with me standing slightly in front of his shoulder. And there he looks away. He gets the click and treat. I would prefer if he not move his feet, but it's still pretty early in his training. And here I'm just pinching his neck because I want to get him used to having the vet walk up to him and pinch his neck to give him an injection. So I pinch his neck just randomly. That was the first time I actually threw the lead rope over his neck and was incredibly surprised that he had no reaction. And that was just wonderful. And I thought he was going to walk off here, and when he didn't, I was like, well, let's adjust the rope here so it's not so loose. And he really did quite well with the halter on, off, on, off. And we did this a few times. And when I was first putting the halter on him a couple days ago, I would give him the treat as the halter was going on. And now the halter has to go on, and then he gets the click and treat. And eventually it will be, you put your face in the halter. And we've started working on that, and he's getting a little bit better. That's the next video. Unfortunately, I'm only able to get out to the ranch twice a week. If I was able to get out every day, I would be much further along in training. And he is a darling little pony. I think he would be a cute little carriage horse. Maybe some combined driving in his future. And the whole time I'm working with him, he has the opportunity to leave. He is loose. Well, he's not loose. He's on a halter, but he's in the pasture. And this pasture, I think, is over